Yes, जीत गए. CSK has won the match. Myself and Jainam, we both were backing CSK. और कन्विंसिंग मैं बिल्कुल नहीं बोलूँगा, क्लिनिकल में बिल्कुल नहीं बोलूँगा, लेकिन इट इज़ जस्ट दैट हैदराबाद ने हमसे मतलब हमसे आई थिंक चेन्नई से भी खराब क्रिकेट खेली एंड दैट्स वाई हैदराबाद लॉस्ट द मैच instead of Chennai winning it convincingly. So I think you would agree, Jainam. What is your overall analysis of
Yes.
the match?
Overall say was is that a good overall performance in the first half by Hyderabad themselves, because restricting them after a good partnership built between Watson and Raidu. They both were set, and a good start by Sam Curran as well. But the major setback was the first ball duck, which was Faf du Plessis, and the man in form whom they called. And after that, not capitalizing on that wicket and giving stress, because they knew probably that Watson and Raidu both are slow starters, but still giving them time. And even though they were set, they were not convincing that they were playing with above a
Exactly.
strike rate of 100,
Yes. Yes.
There was that strike rate was continuously being there. It was not that they were playing at somewhere around 150, 160, and where I feel that they could have capitalized by putting a bit more pressure on both of them and cramping them up, and maybe bringing in Dhoni and Jadeja on this field earlier than what they came up to.
Hmm.
But all in all, a great finish by CSK as well at the end. Jadeja coming up and tonking a few balls, and Dhoni hitting a six as well. So that was a good finish overall. And eventually second innings की अगर बात करे जाए तो SRH bottled it up.
Yes.
SRH did bottle, because though Warner or Manish Pandey, those both have been performing and scoring runs from top three, today Williamson showed that why he was the main lead in the middle order, why he was needed, and the lack of that one extra batsman
Hmm.
occurred today.
Yes.
That was the point which proved, because if that extra batsman would have been there, शायद things would have been different. And in that case, if you would have seen, वो जो run chase था वो थोड़ा और easy हो जाता,
Hmm.
because at the end it was too much pressure on Williamson as well, because Vijay Shankar also came in, tonked a few balls, tried to up the antique, but wasn't able to, because as you know the pitch was turning and it was slow as well. So overall, a good match, but I feel SRH bottled it up.
और अगर हम चेंजेस की बात करें तो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल वंशज इज आस्किंग कि व्हाट डू यू थिंक अबाउट सैम करन ओपनिंग. तो मैंने तो ये प्रीव्यू में बोला था कि शायद जस्ट शायद
Yes.
सीएसके का ये प्लान था स्टार्टिंग से कि इफ़ वी आर बैटिंग फर्स्ट देन वी माइट सेंड सैम करन आउट टू बैट इन द फर्स्ट ओवर इटसेल्फ टू ओपन. बट उनका अभी तक चांस ही नहीं आया वो, तो हमें वो देखने नहीं मिला. आज वॉज द टुडे वॉज द फर्स्ट टाइम दैट दे डिड इट and now he played decently. मतलब the way he
Yes,
scored
yes.
boundaries, it was very convincing. लेकिन एंड में when you see 31 बॉल 31 from 21, तो सैम करन को तुम इसके लिए नहीं जानते. सैम करन में यू सी कि 15 बॉल 30 ऐसा कुछ हो तो
Yes.
और मजा है,
Yes,
ऐसा
yes.
सोचोगे.
Yes.
बट 21 बॉल 31 इज प्रिटी गुड क्योंकि इट इज़ अ स्लोअर विकेट एंड ऑल दैट स्टफ. तो ठीक है, गुड स्टार्ट, much better than Sunil Narain. And I think Sam Curran, if he opens in every game, तो he'll be more consistent than what we call Sunil Narain, क्योंकि दोनों भी पिंच हिटर ही जाने जाएंगे और दोनों ऐसे हैं जो लोअर मिडल ऑर्डर से प्रमोट करके ओपनिंग में भेजा है. एंड आई थिंक सैम करन विल बी अ बेटर चॉइस. एज इन मतलब अगर वो दो पिंच हिटर को कंपेयर करें तो सैम करन विल प्ले बेटर देन सुनील नारायण. व्हाट सुनील नारायण हैज डन फॉर केकेआर इज व्हाट आई फील. और बाकी what are the positive CSK can get from this match and what can they learn from today for the further part of the tournament. सी इसमें पॉजिटिव ये है कि सिंस 2018 फर्स्ट लेट जैनम आंसर योर क्वेश्चन. जैनम, सैम करन ओपनिंग ये पहले हम बात कर लेते हैं बिकॉज जस्ट आई आंसर्ड.
I agree. Sam Curran opening is a good option. Obviously, जैसे तूने बोला, this is not the Sam Curran that we know. 21 balls, 31 is not. वो थोड़ा slow हो जाता है उसके लिए. मतलब what we have seen him in the past, वो थोड़ा
हाँ.
slow हो जाता है. But probably you can say it was his first go, and probably it was because Duplessis का wicket भी जल्दी निकल गया.
Yes.
तो प्रोबेबली वो भी हो सकता है कि उस वजह से वो थोड़ा और टाइम लिया हो उसने थोड़ा क्रीज पे, कि डुप्लेसी के विकेट के जाने के बाद शायद वॉटसन को थोड़ा सेट होने का टाइम देने के लिए ही
हम्म.
माइट हैव प्लेड अ फ्यू बॉल्स. वो बोल सकते हैं. नेक्स्ट मैच ऑल्सो इफ दिस थिंग कंटिन्यूज और डुप्लेसी अगर फायर करना चालू कर देता है वापस, तो यू माइट सी द ओल्ड सैम करन एज वेल, एंड दैट इज अ मच बेटर लाइनअप. बिकॉज अर्लियर भी हम लोग ने बात कर रहे थे कि मैं आई माई सजेशन वॉज डुप्लेसी टू प्ले इन द मिडल ऑर्डर.
हम्म.
But Watson came in the middle order. That's also a better option only because with the experience, he is a kind of a player who needs time to settle in. And middle order is perfect क्योंकि अगर उनको क्विक स्टार्ट मिल गया तो थोड़ा वॉटसन टाइम लेके सेट हो सकता है. अगर जल्दी विकेट निकल गया तो इन अ वे वॉटसन ओपनर के जैसे ही आ रहा है वापस क्रीज पे. तो इट्स अ गुड डिसीजन आई फील, एंड आई फेल्ट इट वाज अ गुड थिंग दैट सीएसके डिड.
Yes. Parshva, you would like to add something?
Not really. Sam Curran did a good job, and his start was nice. अगर वो संदीप शर्मा ऐसा बहुत ही खतरनाक बॉल नहीं डालता तो शायद 50 भी हो जाते उसके. But good positive signs from his opening, and probably CSK can build on from there.
Yes. Or अब like going to the next question, Vanshaj has asked us about what are the positives CSK can get from this match and what can they learn from today for the further part of the tournament. So see, first part is कि तुम्हें positives में your bowling is a much better, bigger positive than your batting today. Your batting was not अच्छी नहीं थी batting, to say the least, to be very brutal. The batting was not good. When you look at scores like Duplessis on the first ball duck, Watson 38 ball 42 very slow, राइडू 34 बॉल 41 वेरी स्लो. वो लास्ट में सिर्फ धोनी और जडेजा की जो पार्टनरशिप थी दैट हेल्प यू गेट टू 160 एंड क्रॉस 160. So it is only due to those two players that you reach there. So batting was not a positive. Bowling was a positive. Why? अब मैं वो एक बात बताना चाहता हूँ कि 2018 में जब से CSK वापस आई है, CSK इज अ टीम जिसकी आदत बन गई है कि दे हैव 7 or 8 ऑप्शंस इन देयर टीम. धोनी likes to play with those many options and he likes to shuffle them around, and he shuffles it with सुपर ब्रिलियंटली वो शफल करता है. धोनी का माइंड एंड द चेंजेस इन हिज बॉलिंग आर इम्पेकेबल. सो वो ही आज हुआ. यू इंक्रीज द बॉलिंग ऑप्शन, यू इंक्रीज द प्रेशर ऑन द बैट्समैन कि तुम अच्छा खेलो क्योंकि हमारे पास एक बैट्समैन शॉर्ट है हम लोग. दो बोलने को तो ये टीम 11 तक बैटिंग करती है, लेकिन व्हेन यू लुक एट द लास्ट फोर दे डोंट इंस्पायर सो मच कॉन्फिडेंस इन यू कि वो लोग अगर 50 रन ऐड करने तो वो चार आके 50 रन ऐड कर देंगे. ये ऐसी बैटिंग लाइनअप नहीं है. एवरी वन कैन टोंक द बॉल, बट सो दैट हैपन टूडे एंड दैट वर्कड इन देयर फेवर एंड दैट इज गुड. 16वें ओवर में जाके पीयूष चावला को बॉलिंग मिली है. So that kind of options you had, that your most experienced bowler came in at the last, and how last मतलब कितना लेट, 16वें ओवर में सीधा. and he bowled I think only 1 over. Yes, only 1 over. And in the 1 over that he bowled, he gave away 8 runs. All seven bowlers had a go. और अच्छी थी. He likes, and he likes playing with so many options, and I think he will continue with this lineup. Jainam.
I agree because he has a good variety of options as you said rightly. 7 options जब पहले ही बात कर रहे थे हम कि भाई कौन as an additional है, कौन as cushioning है. We all three had different options in everything.
Yes.
But in a way वो cushioning नहीं है, वो extra bowler नहीं है, वो धोनी है जो चाहता है कि चलेगा, कोई अपनी 4 ओवर पूरी मत करो, सब 3-3 ओवर डालो वो भी चलेगा मेरे को, 3-2 डालो. But he likes that variety and that variety is needed as well because that gives him much more confidence कि अगर एक एंड से कोई अगर ठुक जाता है तो दूसरे एंड से कोई है जो वापस उसको कंस्ट्रेन करके तीसरा वापस में उसको रिप्लेस करके किसी और को मैं कंट्रोल कर सकूं.
Yes.
So definitely for another 1 or 2 matches, I do not feel any more changes are there. But as the tracks are moving and are slowing down, I would like to see Tahir into the mix. But agreed, definitely top four. अभी के जो 4 overseas है, they aren't that bad as well because all justified. Only Duplessis was the one that didn't justify today.
We'll
But apart from that, he's been justifying.
yes, we'll talk about Duplessis
Yes,
going ahead. वो अलग
yes,
से
yes,
बात
yes,
करनी है मुझे.
yes,
Yes,
yes.
Parshva.
But
Yes,
hmm.
sorry. Yes, Jainam, continue.
No, no, but that's what I feel कि I do not see any more changes now. हाँ, either or change अगर गायकवाड या इसको लाके थोड़ा runs quick अगर करना चाहे तो कर सकते हैं because Raidu is playing really slow and that can cramp up a bit at times. But probably I do not see any more changes in another 1 or 2 matches.
Okay. Yes, Parshva.
Um, I mean, India में भी with the Indian team as well वो 2011 World Cup में देखेगा. So he had Yuvraj and Raina as the part timers, and Yuvraj ko he used very well, because of which he took more than 10 wickets and was a very important part in the bowling lineup. So Dhoni हमेशा एक bowlers captain रहा है. He
Yes.
loves to play with extra bowlers. Very rarely, only when थोड़ा टीम का बैलेंस इधर उधर हो रहा है या कोई प्लेयर्स वैसे अवेलेबल नहीं है कि उसने 5 बॉलर्स के साथ खेला रहेगा. इंडिया के साथ बहुत बार हुआ है, बट चेन्नई के साथ तो ऐसा बहुत रेयरली हुआ रहेगा. बट it's his tendency. It's उसका एक niche बन गया है वो over the years कि he loves to play around with bowlers. So गुड कैप्टेंसी. आई मीन 168 भी आज चेज हो जाता एंड में, तो जब 2 ओवर बाकी थे तब लगा कि या चेज हो जाएगा. बट ब्रिलियंट कैप्टेंसी फ्रॉम MS धोनी. दिस इज व्हाट आई वाज एक्सपेक्टिंग फ्रॉम हिम फ्रॉम द फर्स्ट गेम, द शेड्स ऑफ 2011. So brilliant captaincy from him, and probably they could build on from here. They still have 6 games to do.
यस. तो हाँ, वही एज आई सेड कि जैसे जैसे आज खेले हैं, अगर दे कैरी ऑन विद द सेम काइंड ऑफ कॉम्बिनेशन, तो दैट पुट्स प्रेशर ऑन द टॉप ऑर्डर एंड द मिडल ऑर्डर टू स्कोर रन्स. एंड आज के जैसा नहीं, टू स्कोर रन्स एट अ क्विकर रेट, क्योंकि अगर आगे जाके किसी भी अपोजिशन में बैटिंग पावर ज़्यादा निकली, जो हो सकता है ऑब्वियसली, बिकॉज दे विल go on to face RCB, they'll go on to face MI, they'll go on to face DC, they'll even go on to face RR. RR is a no kidding there, क्योंकि वहाँ पे बैटिंग लाइनअप बहुत स्ट्रांग है. अगर क्लिक कर गए तो फिर उड़ा देंगे तुमको. ठीक है, कितना भी हम हेट कर ले, हम मिड सीजन रिव्यू में बहुत हेट फैलाया है. हमने बोला है कि आई वी वांट देम टू फिनिश लास्ट, एंड दैट इज बिकॉज ऑफ द डिसीजंस दैट दे हैव टेकन. वी हैव नथिंग अगेंस्ट द प्लेयर्स दैट दे हैव, बिकॉज देयर प्लेयर्स आर टॉप नॉच, और स्पेशली द बैटिंग लाइनअप. तो वैसा है. तो दे नीड टू टेल वॉटसन, दे नीड टू टेल राइडू, दे नीड टू टेल डुप्लेसी कि वी नीड यू टू फायर एट लीस्ट 135-140 के स्ट्राइक रेट. उससे नीचे होगा तो शायद हम फंस जाएंगे. तो एंड ऑल थ्री प्लेयर्स आर सीनियर प्लेयर्स, एवरी ऑल थ्री ऑफ देम विल अंडरस्टैंड दिस फैक्ट. उनको बताने की भी शायद ज़रूरत नहीं पड़ेगी. दे विल गो ऑन टू प्ले दैट वे, एंड होपफुली वील सी अ रिवैम्प्ड चेन्नई सुपर किंग्स इन द सेकेंड हाफ ऑफ द टूर्नामेंट. और एज जैनम सेड कि ओवरसीज प्लेयर्स में अभी तो चेंज नहीं दिख रहा है. बट टॉकिंग अबाउट डुप्लेसिस की जो लास्ट 5 इनिंग्स हम अगर देखें, तो आज ही स्कोर्ड 0. ओके, लास्ट मैच ही स्कोर्ड सम 8 runs, आई थिंक. Yes, 8 runs. The match prior to that he scored 17. The match prior to that was पंजाब, वहाँ पे ही स्कोर्ड हाफ सेंचुरी, 84 या 85 जो भी था. उसके पहले दे अगेन प्लेड SRH, वहाँ पे ही स्कोर्ड 22 एंड ही रन आउट हो गया था. उसके पहले DC की मैच थी, देयर ही स्कोर्ड 43. ठीक है, तो भले ही जब भी वो आउट होता है ना, हर मैच में जब भी आउट होता है, तो द हिंदी कमेंटेटर एटलीस्ट से कि अरे बिग विकेट, इन फॉर्म बल्लेबाज को आउट किया है एंड ऑल दैट. वुड यू रियली कॉल दिस इन फॉर्म? 3 मैच से वो फेल कर रहा है. टुडे वाज द थर्ड मैच दैट ही फेल्ड. Before that he had obviously scored 85. उसके पहले again he had failed. So he has not been very consistent. You might call this in form because when he strikes big. He makes sure कि वो कहीं पे तो लेके जाए टीम को. But otherwise फॉर्म है ये फॉर्म है ये कंसिस्टेंसी तो मुझे नहीं दिख रही तो ये फॉर्म है जैनम.
फॉर्म है नहीं है उस पे आई वुडंट वांट टू कमेंट बट फॉर श्योर इट्स नॉट कंसिस्टेंसी. इफ यू सी informed player is known when he is consistent.
Yes.
वो form, we are not talking about form out here, we're just talking about consistency out here. And the kind of consistency we know Faf has and can create that consistency, it's lacking on and off. I guess उसका भी मोरल डाउन हो गया है जब टीम लूज कर रही है या प्रेशर में आ रही है. एंड मोर ओवर आई थिंक फैफ थोड़ा ज्यादा प्रेशर में खेल रहा है in terms of because he's having that burden over his shoulder right now. Because if you go to see starting with 3-4 matches where he was performing, he was being the top scorer.
Yes.
Raidu was top scorer for one of the matches after him or with him or something like that. So somewhere down the line he feels ki he is the main person, main uh, main player to guide them through to a big score and everything. And probably that is somewhere that is hitting him and lacking in that case. So वो मेरे को लग रहा है. I yet feel एक आध दो मैचेस और है उसके पास.
हाँ हाँ.
अगर वो क्लिक कर गया तो है, वरना obviously we know Tahir is waiting in the wings. वो आ जाएगा. He's literally waiting for it कि भाई बस कोई एक परफॉर्म ना करे, मैं अंदर आ रहा हूँ.
हाँ, बिफोर आई गो टू पार्श्व, आई डोंट थिंक दिस इज हैपनिंग क्योंकि अगर डुप्लेसिस को निकाल देते हो तो तुम्हारे पास और कोई प्लेयर नहीं है जो उसको रिप्लेस कर सके. The only player you can remove from the top is maybe someone like Shane Watson. वो भी क्योंकि he has consistently not been performed. आज उसने किया, लास्ट गेम में उसने किया, बट ही स्कोरिंग वेरी स्लोली. लास्ट गेम में तो शायद किया भी नहीं था, बट वेन एवर ही स्कोरिंग स्लोली. तो वो एक इशू है. एंड टॉप ऑफ द ऑर्डर नाउ when you have Sam Curran opening the innings along with maybe Raidu, then you have Faf. You can bring in Jagdishan. Jagdishan had justified his spot. तो लाइक दैट यू कैन ब्रिंग इन ताहिर क्योंकि तुमने शेन वॉटसन को बाहर बिठा दिया है. फैफ को रिप्लेस करना आई थिंक मुश्किल है. ही इज प्लेइंग दैट काइंड ऑफ रोल विच रायना यूज टू प्ले टिल लास्ट ईयर.
it is it is difficult, but it's just to say कि भाई you need to perform because you are a someone like replacement of Raina that we are expecting. So obviously उसका perform करना बहुत important है. And he himself knows down the line कि उसका perform करना important है. आज जीत गए हैं but फिर भी he is under the radar कि भाई he has to perform. Not because
यस.
he'll be chucked out of the team, but it will be a bit more pressure on the middle order which he would like to release it.
हाँ, और अगला मैच तो दिल्ली के सामने है तो तभी तो he'll have to. यस पार्श्व.
I will totally disagree with Jainam because Duplessis is not just a batsman. He is one of the core leaders in the team, and he has been with the team since before Watson joined. So Duplessis को bench करना is I would say not the right thing. And as for his form or consistency, consistency. Yes, he's definitely not consistent, but being out of form, I don't think that's right because he's still getting those scores. ऐसा नहीं है कि 5-6 मैच continuously he went without scoring. Let's not forget that he was the one who stood up while the entire batting lineup was misfiring. So you can certainly rely on him, and you can certainly rely on him more than Watson because Watson is 39, and as a fielder as well, Duplessis gives you invaluable presence in the team. वो बैटिंग में भले ही क्लिक नहीं करेगा बट ही विल सेव एटलीस्ट 10 to 15 रन्स विद हिज फील्डिंग. वो हर मैच में एक या दो सिक्स तो बचा ही लेता है ऑलमोस्ट एवरी मैच. तो जस्ट कंसिडर ऐसा आज का ही मैच पकड़ लो, अगर फील्डिंग में 10-15 रन ज़्यादा दे दिए होते किसी ने तो Hyderabad would have won it. But it is on those days where fielding is very important, where Duplessis comes in. you do not see Watson in such position. वो हमेशा inner ring के अंदर ही होता है. You do
हम्म
not see him on the boundaries. And
और
वो
वो भी
भी
अब
ऐसा
तो थर्ड मैन पे रहता है अभी तो.
हाँ हाँ वही एग्जैक्टली exactly. जहाँ पे तुम ईशांत शर्मा या रविचंद्रन अश्विन जैसे बॉलर्स को रखते हो वहाँ पे शेन वॉटसन है. तो आई थिंक Shane Watson is dispensable and Faf du Plessis is not. And it's a matter of time before he comes into his own because if you see Surya Kumar Yadav या Quinton de Kock, वो लोग भी फॉर्म में आ गए. क्विंटन de Kock तो हॉरिबली आउट ऑफ फॉर्म था बट ही केम बैक. यहाँ पे तो इट्स जस्ट लीन पैच दैट ही इज गोइंग थ्रू. 3-4 गेम्स का पंजाब के सामने ही स्कोर्ड. उसके पहले ही गॉट ए स्टार्ट. उसके पहले ही वॉज रन आउट ऑन 22. जस्ट इमेजिन हैड ही नॉट बीन रन आउट वो 50 मार भी लेता. So I don't think he's out of form. It's just a lean patch. Every player goes through that. You cannot expect a player to hit 14 half centuries in 14 innings. वो तो होता है. It happens. It's just a matter of time before he comes back into the form that he showed in the initial games. And अगर ताहिर को अंदर आना है तो Shane Watson will be going out.
ओके. अब हम एसआरएच के ओवरसीज प्लेयर्स की बात करते हैं. बिफोर द गेम ऑल्सो वी सेड कि दे आर ओवर डिपेंडेंट ऑन देयर ओवरसीज प्लेयर्स. हमने मिड सीजन रिव्यू में भी ये बात की थी कि एसआरएच इज डिपेंडेंट ऑन देयर ओवरसीज प्लेयर्स और वो ओवरसीज प्लेयर चेंज ही नहीं करना चाहते. Now, when you today see the way they batted, the way they bowled, the way they bowled तो ठीक है. आज सी एस के रियली शोड हाउ टू प्ले स्पिनर्स ऑन अ स्पिनिंग ट्रैक. वो एक पॉजिटिव था सी एस के की बैटिंग में वेर दे हिट राशिद खान फॉर 30 एंड शाहबाज नदीम फॉर 29. तो टोटल 59 इन देयर 8 ओवर्स कंबाइंड. तो विच वॉज अ प्रिटी गुड थिंग. और
35 35 दिया ना वो.
नहीं, आई थिंक 30 ही दिया है.
35 या 36 दिया.
राशिद खान 30, शाहबाज नदीम 29.
ओके.
तो तो यस, दैट इज वन पॉजिटिव इन देयर बैटिंग. और अगर आगे बढ़े तो देयर ओवरसीज प्लेयर्स आर नॉट परफॉर्मिंग अप टू द मार्क. राशिद खान को छोड़ के ऑब्वियसली बाकी तीन जो है उसमें से भी विलियमसन हैज प्लेड वेल. बेयरस्टो और वार्नर कभी कभी खेलते हैं, कभी कभी नहीं खेलते. व्हेन दे क्लिक दे बोथ क्लिक एट वंस. व्हेन दे डोंट क्लिक दे बोथ आर नॉट क्लिकिंग एट वंस. So there you could use someone like maybe a Nabi or someone else. I don't know who do you want to bring in. लेकिन एक slot किसी और को at least for a couple of games you should be trying out because you are very rigid with your four players. It is not the case like दिल्ली और मुंबई जहाँ पे तुम लोग हर मैच जीतते ही जा रहे हो, जीतते ही जा रहे हो, तो तुम लोग कोई चेंजेस नहीं कर रहे हो. यहाँ पे वो हारते हैं तो वो इंडियन प्लेयर्स में शफल करते हैं, फिर वापस वही खिला देते हैं, फिर वापस इंडियन प्लेयर्स में शफल करके वापस खिला देते हैं. तो डू यू थिंक कि ओवरसीज प्लेयर्स में से एक आध चेंज होना चाहिए कभी, और अगर होना चाहिए तो वो कौन होना चाहिए और कौन अंदर आना चाहिए? तो पार्श्व फर्स्ट.
डेफिनेटली अब इस पॉइंट पे तो होना ही चाहिए. And I think they could do without Bairstow because he's definitely clearly not in form. आज भी he scored 23 runs in 25 balls and काफी pressure pile up किया विलियमसन पे. वो तो अच्छा है विलियमसन didn't throw his wicket away. बहुत ही समझदारी से खेला बट Bairstow I mean he should have he's not performing as मतलब वही वही जैसा वॉटसन परफॉर्म कर रहा है. 8 गेम्स में से 2 या 3 बार खेला है सिर्फ. बाकी यू कैन नॉट रिलाई ऑन हिम. वार्नर तो कैप्टन है तो हिज इम्पोर्टेंस इज
मोर.
much more than
यस.
it can be seen. But Bairstow, I think, is the only player that seems can be changed. And Bairstow गया तो you will have to make 2 changes.
यस.
So I will remove Priyam Garg and Bairstow and I'll get in Jason Holder and Riddhiman Saha. Or probably if you want Nabi, you could get him, but you already have 2 spinners. I feel it's in the pace department where they are lacking someone, where they are lacking an experienced player, and that's where Jason Holder or even Billy Stanley could do well. But Jason Holder, just because he bats well and power play में he can be the X factor alongside Sandeep Sharma. I think he can do well. As you saw how the Pacers conceded 49 runs in the last 4 overs.
Yes.
which is what cost them the match. They could have easily restricted Chennai to 160 or below, but 168 the Gaya score. So that was a poor bowling effort in the end. So नटराजन पे काफी ज्यादा प्रेशर आ रहा है, which is why even he is not performing since 2 games. So I feel someone like Billy Stanley or Jason Holder could do well instead of Bairstow. So my lineup would be like Warner and Saha opening the batting. Then you have Manish Pandey and Williamson at 3 and 4. Then we could play Vijay Shankar at 5, Jason Holder at 6, or Rashid Khan at 7, and then the usual bowling lineup.
I would even go without. I don't mind going without Manish Pandey also, क्योंकि he has not added value. See, fielding अच्छा करता है, ठीक है. Batting में he has clicked in maybe 2 matches out of the 8 that he has played. और उसमें the other matches that he hasn't played, या फिर लास्ट मैच भी देख ले आरआर के सामने, तो उसने 50 मारा, लेकिन it was so slow. There was no momentum in his 50, and
15-20 रन ज्यादा हो सकते थे. Yes.
हाँ, और he is not adding that much value to the side. So instead of removing someone like Priyam Garg, you
Yeah,
could
yeah.
do without.
I could remove. Yes.
तो वो एक
Yes.
चेंज हो सकता है. Yes, Jainam, would you like to remove some overseas player from the Hyderabad side?
I would agree in that case because Westo is also having a lean patch. Just one good knock of 97 that is not justified. That he's a consistent player and he's been consistently performing for them. And obviously, removing him, you'll get in Vidman Saha, who is a much more better, consistent player. We can say at least he can play in any of the slots,
Yes.
not as rigid as Besto, who can only open. If you want to slot him in the middle as well, he'll play you in the middle as well. He'll open for you as well. So he'll be a good addition to that pack. Other than that, I would yet add in Nabi instead of Holder. The only thing is because the pitches are turning slow and are turning now, so he would have an added benefit in that case. And on the other hand, if you see, if you get in Nabi again, then you can again get in Abhishek Sharma, who can bat better than Shahbaz Nadeem as well. And that way, you're again strengthening your batting lineup again. And with an inclusion of Nabi, your batting becomes much more stronger, and your bowling is also much more compact. So I would like to see that way because Holder will add you an extra added advantage in terms of bowling, medium pace and everything. But for that, you already have a likes of Vijay Shankar into your team who didn't get to bowl as well today. So probably if the wickets are turning slow and are spinning, then I would like to include Nabi in for Besto and Vridhaman Saha in for likes of Nadeem, or I yet wouldn't take out Manish Pandey. The only thing is because if you remove him, you play Vridhaman Saha at one down position or anything. But that the middle order then becomes a bit thin. Though Manish Pandey is also playing slow, he's not giving you quick fire runs and everything, but he's giving you that consistency of runs at least. He's scoring runs. He's just like another Raidu right now, who's scoring runs but scoring at a slow pace. So he also needs a pat from the back that you need to score runs quickly and you need to get the runs quick for us because for that reason you are brought into the team. So
Okay.
that would be the thing.
Okay, my SRH ideal 11 from now on would be Pridhiman Saha and David Warner opening the batting. Saha बेयरस्टो को इसीलिए भी रिप्लेस करना चाहिए बिकॉज एक तो एज यू सेड ही इज वर्सेटाइल बैट्समैन, ही कैन बैट अप द ऑर्डर, मिडल ऑर्डर, कहीं पे भी, and I think he's a better wicket keeper as well. Bairstow has done nothing wrong in his keeping, but we know Saha to be a better keeper. He is known to be probably world's number 1 keeper. ऐसा भी लोग बोलते हैं. Commentators, I've heard commentators saying this more than once. So Saha and Warner opening, then Williamson at 3. I'll bat Vijay Shankar at 4. Then Jainam made a good point. You can get in Abhishek Sharma again. So Abhishek Sharma and Priyam Garg. Then you have Mohammad Nabi. Then you have Rashid Khan. Then Natrajan, Khalil Ahmed, and Sandeep Sharma. So this looks a very good lineup because you have three proper pacers, two proper spinners, and one extra pacer and one extra spinner also. So in all, again you have seven options. Okay, seven options like what CSK had today, and SRH even after having those seven options, मतलब 4 नंबर से जो ऑलराउंडर शुरू हो जाते हैं वो 11 तक जाते हैं, and still they look a better side, and a side that can score 170 180 and defend something like 155 160, क्योंकि उनकी bowling अभी भी वही है and you are adding more to it. So I think this can be a lineup, but I'm not sure if they'll do if they'll follow this, क्योंकि बेयरस्टो ने अभी अभी 2 मैच पहले या 1 मैच पहले 97 मारा था. So based on that, if they give him another chance, तो fair enough. अभी कुछ बोल नहीं सकते. But looking at their position right now, if they want to look at the bigger picture, then they'll need to qualify, and for qualifying, they'll need to make these changes. It is necessary now. अब कोई भी टीम एक्सपेरिमेंट करना नहीं चाहेगी या करना नहीं चाहिए rather, except for the teams who are comfortably placed at the top. They can afford a couple of experiments. But अगर वो experiment भी wrong गए, in some case, like if you see Mumbai is playing Kolkata in the next game. If they decide to do a couple of experiments in their squad, and if that does not work, then they will also go back to their winning formula आगे. वो भी ऐसे अगर experiment चालू हो गए तो चालू ही रहेंगे, ऐसा नहीं है. But these teams who are in the bottom 4, उनको तो अभी जो विनिंग फॉर्मूला है और जो अच्छी टीम लग रही है उससे ही उतरना पड़ेगा, अभी एक्सपेरिमेंट नहीं कर सकते. और now, Parshva, before you joined in, we had just talked about कि how CSK का आज का जो परफॉर्मेंस था वो इतना क्लिनिकल या इतना कुछ खास नहीं था. It was just that SRH was a not the best side, not the better side today, and hence SRH lost. It was SRH losing the game rather than CSK winning it. So, your thoughts on the game today overall?
Yeah, I definitely agree, and which is why it left a bitter taste in my mouth when I saw CSK winning because they did nothing to win the game. And not, I mean, इतना effort नहीं डालना पड़ा उनको. They were, it was rather Rajasthan, Hyderabad not showing that much intent in the batting until Williamson and Priyankar joined hands, and then Williamson and Rashid Khan came in. Vijay Shankar came in, sorry.
Yes.
So at one stage, I even thought that Rashid Khan would do a Tewatia, would pull off a Tewatia because 11 ball में 24 चाहिए थे, and at one stage you needed 46 in 18.
हाँ,
So
वो
in the last,
एक ओवर ऑफ करण
हाँ,
शर्मा चेंज द गेम.
yes, in that over cost them 19 runs. And I would also like to criticize the umpiring because वो जो wide था जो ऐसे almost दिया but नहीं दिया, that was a wide in my opinion it was because भले ही राशिद खान थोड़ा सा शिफ्ट हुआ बॉल भी उतना ही बाहर था सो इट डिड नॉट मेक एनी डिफरेंस वाइड का लाइन भले ही शिफ्ट हुआ तो इट वुड हैव बीन अ वाइड nevertheless but वो वाइड दिया नहीं and MS Dhoni's reaction and Shardul Thakur's reaction forced the umpire to change his decision which is something that I did not like even though overall outcome में वो फर्क पड़ता कि नहीं I don't know but umpiring is a part of the game nevertheless and such things do matter तो वो वाइड देना चाहिए था एंड अंपायरिंग का क्वालिटी hasn't been that convincing so they need to look at that coming back to the game as I was saying it was इतना कुछ किया नहीं CSK ने to win the game बस जीत गए they got away with the victory Hyderabad would have chased it had they not lost 2 wickets in the power play because Williamson was playing well and अगर उसके साथ बेस्टो या मनीष पांडे होता सेट हो गए होते तो कुछ अलग ही आउटकम होता मैच का बट अ विन इज अ विन एंड कांग्रेचुलेशंस टू सीएसके बट Hyderabad will be very very heartbroken because they could have easily won this game.
Okay,
And
yes.
also, just one more point. Their death bowling looks lifeless after Bhuvaneshwar's injury. I mean,
हाँ,
Natarajan is also. I mean, he showed तीन चार गेम में he showed his
कैरेक्टर.
panache. Yeah, showed his flair, showed the Yorkers. But आज I don't know. आज जब actual जरूरत थी Yorkers
सब
डालने
फुल
की तो
टॉस
he
जा रहे
was
थे. सब फुल टॉस जा
yeah,
रहे थे.
he was yeah, and he was also bowling short balls because वो जो Yorkers थे वो execute नहीं हो रहे थे, so he was reverting to the other balls. So and I think the death bowling cost Hyderabad मैच बैटिंग फिर भी ठीक था. They another collapse was on the cards, but they joined the hands Bairstow and Williamson, and Williamson, kudos to him, superhuman effort, because ऐसे में he wasn't getting the boundaries, but एक एक दो दो लेके भी he scored 57 at a strike rate of 146. So commendable job by him, and very heartbreaking.
Okay, yes. और दैट brings us to the end of the review of this match. अब हम बहुत शॉर्ट में कल की मैच डिस्कस कर लेते हैं, क्योंकि कल की मैच में डिस्कस करने जैसा बहुत कुछ है, तो वी माइट नॉट हैव इनफ टाइम टू डिस्कस इन द प्रीव्यू. कल का मैच इज आरआर वर्सेस डीसी, और रैदर डीसी वर्सेस आरआर. और दिस इज देयर सेकेंड एनकाउंटर इन लेस देन अ वीक. लास्ट फ्राइडे को ही खेले वो लोग इन शारजा, and tomorrow they'll be playing in Dubai. Last time around, it was the case where Delhi was coming off 2 wins and RR was coming off 3 losses. Now it has changed. Delhi is coming off a win. Delhi is coming off a loss. RR is coming off a win. Delhi is without Pant. RR is with Stokes. So now, tomorrow, do you think it is a good matchup, a better matchup than it was before? Parshva.
See, all the Rajasthan games would be good matchups. Rajasthan can still challenge for the spot in the playoffs, because, as we discussed, they just need to get their combination right. Otherwise, it's a pretty well balanced team. बस उनका जो बैटिंग ऑर्डर है, if they can fix that up, if they can iron out the flaws from there, the bowling is doing well, decent, and अगर bowling उतना अच्छा करता भी नहीं है, तो they have the batting capable enough of, overshadowing the weaknesses in the bowling. So it's just the batting where they need to do some wiring and repairing. बस बाकी तो they are a very good team in my opinion. And वो लोग शारजा में ऐसे ही फ्लूक से नहीं जीते हैं 2 games. They won it because they deserve to win it. So last game भी they won it because they deserve to win it. And uh, uh, as you mentioned कि एक टीम हार के आ रहा है, दूसरा टीम जीत के आ रहा है, तो let's also make it very clear कि जो टीम हारा है वो just हारा है. They could have won the match. I mean, the fact that they pulled things back in the last 5 overs only to lose it on the fourth ball of the last over was a very big thing. So Delhi would not be that worried by that loss, because वो loss ने दिल्ली को reality check नहीं दिया. Till the final ball, both the teams were neck to neck. So the team that was slightly better that day edged out, which was Mumbai. And Rajasthan, they would have lost their fifth consecutive game, but they will be definitely more worried, because जब तेवतिया और पराग को जैसे प्लेयर्स को at number 7 have to stitch an 80-90 run partnership and win the game for the team, it definitely reveals a lot more than can be seen. So Rajasthan will be worried, but as I said, if they can get their batting order fixed, they can be a more than tough team for Delhi Capitals.
Yes, Jainam.
Just a very short, I would like to say, if no captaincy blunders, it will be a mouth-watering contest to watch. But if we see the captaincy blunders, then I don't know what to say. That's it.
Okay. Yes. अगर कल आई वुड सेकेंड दिस ओपिनियन, एंड आई वुड से कि हमने मिड सीजन रिव्यू में आज आरआर का बेस्ट लाइनअप बोला था कि क्या होना चाहिए, and it is the same lineup that they played in the last game, barring one change, and that change would be Robin Uthappa going out and Yashasvi Jaiswal come in. But you could also do with Robin Uthappa, but he should open the innings. That is the only condition that you have. Robin Uthappa opens with Josh Butler, then you have Sanju Samson at 3, not Steve Smith. Then you have Steve Smith at 4, Stokes at 5, then Rian Parag at 6, then Rahul Tewatia at 7, then Archer, Gopal, Unatkar and Kartik Tyagi.
Tyagi.
ऐसे खिलाओ तो जीत जाओगे. ठीक है. आरआर ठीक है. शेनवॉन ठीक है.
और अगर अगर त्यागी या उन्नादकट को निकाल के इवन इफ दे गेट इन मयंक मार्कंडे, तो दैट वुड बी अ
हाँ
सुपर
हाँ यस.
प्रोस्पेक्ट.
यस 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 बट त्यागी उनहत्तर के जगह पे इफ दे डू तो मैंने ये भी बोला था कि शायद श्रेयस गोपाल को निकाले ओविंग टू हिज फॉर्म राइट नाउ तो अगर दे वांट टू प्ले फोर पेसर्स तो दे माइट गो एंड रिमूव श्रेयस गोपाल एंड गेट इन मयंक मार्कंडे और
नहीं, बट कल दुबई दुबई में मैच है तो द चांसेस ऑफ गोपाल बीइंग बेंच्ड are less
या
because he
फिर
has performed well in the bigger on the bigger grounds.
हाँ वो है और अगर किसी पेसर के जगह पे लेग स्पिनर को नहीं लाना है तो रियान पराग को बॉलिंग दो दैट इज ऑल्सो एन ऑप्शन
हाँ, yes, yes, and he can bowl well. बस उसको इतना अपॉर्चुनिटी नहीं मिला लास्ट सीजन. He scalped a couple of wickets, if
यस
I'm not wrong.
तो यू कैन डू दैट और आगे बढ़ते तो द रिप्लेसमेंट ऑफ पंत एंड हेटमायर डेफिनेटली पिंच दिल्ली इन देयर बैटिंग क्योंकि देयर बैटिंग वाज नॉट दैट काइंड ऑफ बैटिंग तो अगर कल भी फॉर एग्जांपल अगर दिल्ली पहले बैटिंग करती है तो राजस्थान हैज़ दैट bowling attack that can reduce them for let's say somewhere around 50 for 2 or 3 at the end of 6 overs मतलब मैं अभी भी पावर प्ले में 50 रन दे रहा हूँ दिल्ली को लेकिन राजस्थान कैन टेक 2 or 3 विकेट्स यू नेवर नो क्योंकि आज बॉल
Probably
स्विंग हुआ था
tomorrow.
थोड़ा संदीप
Uh,
शर्मा का
Probably this week is the only time with Prithvi Shaw left now to perform because once Pant is back and if Shaw is still on and off side, then you might see Rahane getting a notch up in place of him. Nothing against him, but obviously we need a better opening partnership as well. And for that reason, we would have to see how Shaw plays in this couple of matches as well.
I
यस
was going to say that only. I was
यस
going to say
Sorry,
that
Pachwa.
it's time Shaw gets into his element because he's definitely not convincing me. And yeah, I
Shaw has
mean,
been
if you
Shaw
compare
has been very susceptible to the short ball very much
short
like
ball,
Narain
वो
Narain
थोड़ा
के
वो
जैसा ही है
थोड़ा yeah, I mean, he's a bit short in height, so that doesn't help his cause as well. And सामने के bowlers सब लंबे लंबे. So
हाँ
I mean, you cannot actually blame him. That's a natural weakness that every short batsman has, and not every batsman can be Sachin Tendulkar who can play every type of delivery with finesse.
yes
चाहे वो short
I
ball
was
हो
about to
या
say that now.
and
या
Suresh
चाहे वो
Raina
short
also
ball.
Suresh Raina
सुरेश,
did
I mean,
work on his short
he's
ball
not
and
that short.
work did
हाँ,
but he worked on his short ball से क्योंकि पहले he
yes,
was known कि
बहुत
टेस्ट मैच में आउट क्यों होता है तो टेस्ट मैच में उसको क्यों नहीं लेते तो शॉर्ट बॉल नहीं खेल सकता इसलिए नहीं लेते
बहुत बहुत यस एग्जैक्टली आई मीन एंड उसको जो जो हाइप है सराउंडिंग पृथ्वी शॉ आई थिंक दैट्स अ बिट टू मच.
यस
उसको जमीन पे आने देना चाहिए इन माय ओपिनियन. उसको कुछ ज्यादा ही ओवर हाइप कर दिया है. उस जगह पे इफ यू सी शुभमन गिल हु हैज बीन परफॉर्मिंग 10 notches better, उसको इतना देयर इज नॉट मच हाइप सराउंडिंग हिम एंड दैट यू कैन क्लियरली सी he it is not affecting his game. So the tags that he is the next Sachin Tendulkar and all that shit, bullshit that the media comes up with, I think that should stop. And us as fans also have to try not to overhype him because it's clearly not showing in his game. जो talent है that is undeniable, but the performances need to speak for themselves as well. So I think उसको काफी ज्यादा hype दे दिया है जरूरत से ज्यादा. It's time to bring him on the earth, bring the hype down to earth, and it's time to bench him so that he can come back into his senses because he's definitely taking his position for granted. ऐसा लग रहा है मुझे. He seems to be like there is no opener तो मैं जैसा भी खेलूंगा चल जाएगा.
हम्म
If you saw the last match, in the first over itself, जो बॉल पे शॉ आउट हुआ वो जैसा खेला वो, और वैसा सेम बॉल ट्रेंट बोल्ट ने रहाणे को डाला. द वे बोथ दीज प्लेयर्स पेस दैट बॉल वाज वेरी डिफरेंट.
यस
शॉ स्ट्रेट ऐसा स्कूप करने गया विच इज व्हाई ही बॉल हवा में गया एंड ही वाज कॉट. रहाणे opened the face of the bat but also sliced the ball so that ball हवा में ना जाए या ऐसा लीडिंग एज या ऐसा कुछ ना.
हम्म
So he definitely needs to work on his technique as well. Lara जैसा backlift है, all that will not work. He needs to work on his technique, and nothing will help him. So I think it's time for him to be benched
Yes.
if he fails in the next game.
Yes, and before we go, वंशज ने बोला है tomorrow's lineup for DC रहाणे धवन अय्यर हेटमायर कैरी स्टॉइनिस अक्षर हर्षल अश्विन रबाडा नोकिया. वंशज, this lineup is not possible because you have 5 overseas players. The reason रहाणे was bought in was because पंत was injured और हेटमायर को
Yeah,
जबरदस्ती निकालना पड़ा था, तो ये 5 ओवरसीज प्लेयर नहीं
because
चलेगा.
Carey is the only wicket keeper and he occupies the overseas slot.
Yes, so you will have to get in another Indian batsman instead of Hetmeyer, and that is the only change you
Can
need
we
to
can
make.
we have a look? Can we have a look at the Delhi squad?
Sure. So uh, Delhi squad, the bench is ऋषभ पंत सिमरन हेटमायर को छोड़ देते हैं. ईशांत शर्मा इज आउट ऑफ द टूर्नामेंट राइट नाउ, सो दैट इज वन थिंग. मोहित शर्मा, आवेश खान, संदीप लामिछाने, टीमो पॉल, तुषार देशपांडे, डैनियल सैम्स एंड ललित यादव.
Why don't they give a game to Lalit Yadav in the middle order? I mean, he's a batting all-rounder, and he's an explosive batting all-rounder.
Yes.
So why not give him a try? If
हाँ.
you remove Shaw, you play Rahane at the top. You could I mean you could play a year at one. Probably Alex Carey at number two, number four. I mean two down. Then you could have Lalit Yadav, Stoinis, Akshar Patel, Harshal Patel, Ashwin, whatever the combination is.
Yes, ये अच्छा लाइनअप है. और if the batting fails tomorrow as well, for example, if the batting fails tomorrow as well, then they will need to bring in, they might feel the itching to bring in हेटमायर अगेन, क्योंकि वो फोर्स चेंज है ना. वो पंत इंजर्ड हुआ है तो हेटमायर क्यों बाहर बैठे वैसे. So if they get in हेटमायर, they'll have to replace one of रबाडा और नोकिया. रबाडा is indispensable. So वो एक.
I don't think they'll replace him with any one of those because Stoinis का वैल्यू अब तक सिर्फ बैटिंग में है. बॉलिंग में उसने कुछ ऐड नहीं किया है, तो आई डोंट थिंक दे विल रिमूव अ बॉलर बिकॉज बोथ नोटिया एंड
नहीं नहीं,
रबाडा
आई एम
आर
नॉट जस्ट
indispensable.
रिमूविंग, आई एम रिप्लेसिंग दी ओवरसीज बॉलर विथ ईदर मोहित शर्मा और आवेश खान.
That will create a bowling lineup of DC. जो अभी मुंबई के लेवल पे है वो सीधा कौन से कोलकाता या चेन्नई के लेवल पे आ जाएगा या
See, if you
राजस्थान या
want to
पंजाब.
replace an overseas,
Yes,
sorry,
yes.
Pasha, continue.
No, I'm done. I was just saying that राजस्थान या पंजाब के लेवल पे आ जाएगा बस.
Means if you're trying that you want to replace an overseas bowler, then an overseas bowling option is there, which is Daniel Sams. That's the only option that is available for these two bowlers. And if you want to bring in Avesh Khan or someone like Mohit Sharma in place of Nokia, then I am also not in favor of that because Nokia and Rabada are at a total different level right now. And see, they haven't done anything wrong to be replaced. Only
Exactly,
because
yeah,
you have
that
to
I
put
agree.
in someone like Kerry into the team, you're thinking of that replacement is highly injustice to them both because they both have been the main firepower of your bowling lineup. And obviously, Kerry, it was the first game for Kerry as well. We might see Kerry playing the same way as Hetmeyer plays or better than Hetmeyer as well. You
Hmm.
never know because
Yes,
he's
yes, yes.
known to be a good Australian player
हाँ.
and a wicketkeeper batsman he is. So फेल हो नहीं हो वो कल रिव्यू में डिसाइड करेंगे ना यार अभी क्यों इतना सोच रहे
हाँ,
हो.
अभी आई वाज गोइंग टू से दैट ओनली कि मैं उस पे ही आ रहा था कि कैरी कैरी भी हेटमायर जैसा खेल सकता है, सो लेट्स नॉट रूल दैट
Yeah,
आउट.
especially at number four where he will have more balls, so his impact can
यस
be significantly more.
यस.
यस
लेकिन कंसिडरिंग कि शॉ विल प्ले टुमारो, आई थिंक ही विल, क्योंकि पंत जब तक नहीं आता है तब तक तो वो और किसी को नहीं हिलाएंगे. तो पंत एक बार आ जाए उसके बाद शायद शॉ को निकाल के ललित यादव को लेके आए या जिसको भी लेके आए, इट इज़ देयर चॉइस. बट तो कल का लाइनअप में एलेक्स कैरी स्टिल कम्स इन एट नंबर 5 एंड स्टॉइनिस फॉलोज हिम, so that we can see. Or yes, that we'll keep it, we'll limit it here, and we'll come back tomorrow to talk about this very
वरना
game.
कल
कल कुछ भी नहीं
6:45 को
बचेगा.
हम नहीं दिखेंगे आपको.
हाँ, फिर
इधर ही
सीधा
सब बात कर लिया तो
सीधा टॉस के बाद ही दिखेंगे, 7 बजे ही आएंगे फिर.
सीधा 24 घंटा बाद.
चलो ठीक है, ओके, we'll see you at 6:45 today and 6:45 tomorrow. Okay, and after the match as well. So thank you so much for watching. Good night, goodbye, take care, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. कल तो ठीक है, कल सिर्फ क्रिकेट का कंटेंट आ रहा है, लेकिन परसों कुछ और भी आ रहा है हमारे चैनल पे, सो कीप एन आई आउट फॉर दैट एज वेल, एंड थैंक यू सो मच
परसों
फॉर वॉचिंग.
14 अक्टूबर है
जैनम,
ना?
जैनम कीप गेसिंग.
15।
15 है, 15 है, 15 है. कुछ नहीं होता है, वो डे से रिलेटेड कुछ नहीं है, तुम करते रहो गेस, एंड यू गाइस कैन ऑल्सो guess and let us know tomorrow in the comment section. We'll talk about this tomorrow as well. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Good night, goodbye, take care, and thumbs up, subscribe, bell icon, share, ये सब करना है. Okay, bye.